Hello, and welcome back to the second episode of our podcast.
Living and Loving with Vamsi.
I'm here again with my wonderful husband, Brennan Thomas, and today we have a very interesting topic that we have been actually dealing with since now 6 years or so. We started thinking about this topic almost 6 to 7 years ago, but it has been coming up again and again in our lives, and now again we are having to revisit this topic for some reason, and it's just been an interesting journey to see how it has been evolving over time. And that topic is
negative self-talk.
That's a huge one, actually. Yeah. So negative self-talk and also the power of our subconscious mind. These two things we would love to talk about today. To give a little context, I'm just going to give a quick context to this about, at least personally, how I started on this journey. I'm going to relate you a little bit to what I spoke about in the last episode about that phase that I went through, anxiety, depression, and all of these not so wonderful things that I was experiencing. That was actually the time that I realized how badly I speak to myself in my mind, to be honest. And that was an eye-opening thing. And this was even before I decided to do Vipassana. To even get to a place in my mind where I thought I was worthy enough to go and make this move and save my life and do a meditation course, I think I had to get through a lot of negative self-talk, hate speech, all of this that was going on in my head about myself. I was not even giving my own self the permission to actually do something good for myself. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, so that's when I realized that there is something really wrong with how I speak to myself. And at that moment, I met this wonderful and didn't meet actually. I came across this wonderful channel called Jason Stephen, I think. That channel was amazing. They had very amazing affirmation videos, basically positive affirmations with the most beautiful music and the most believable kind of affirmations. I don't know, something about the person's voice, I felt like he was really embodied in what he was saying. It didn't just feel like someone just like saying something that they didn't believe, you know. So that really cut through all of this negative self-talk I was having in my mind. And that was my first encounter with affirmations. And it just changed a lot of things in my mind, at least at a surface level. Negative self-talk is very interesting because it comes from a lot of things we pick up in our subconscious mind from when we are children, how people spoke to us, how we were corrected on things, what people said to us about us, right? So these are all things that come and stay in our subconscious mind. But I feel our conscious mind uses that material and those reaction patterns and how we taught ourselves to speak to ourselves, basically. And it keeps repeating that over and over again. And that became even more clear when I was doing Vipassana. I could literally hear, feel and see so clearly through the observational techniques just how badly I speak to myself and how badly I put myself down and how high my expectations are of myself. So yeah, this was a basic context of how I came across this and how I got started in this whole journey.
Yeah, I can absolutely relate to that. I've been negative self-talking like probably my entire life. Right from childhood, the way my elders corrected me, from my teachers corrected me, was majorly a lot of going through the very techniques they used were very negative, harsh, insulting, abusive, violent. And they kind of taught us that, if nothing else works, this is the way to make things work. And that created a habit pattern within me. So when I felt like I wasn't getting things done, I would be harsh to myself. And then if I would see like results coming in, I would be like, see, this is the way, this is how you're supposed to treat yourself to get things done. And then as a teacher also, I would see that sometimes when things would get out of control, if my students wouldn't listen, I would also, almost want to like become a little aggressive. But luckily I was in a job where I wasn't allowed to be aggressive, so I would be compelled to look at other ways of getting things done. And gradually I realized that I don't need to use aggression or violence. And I wish even I was corrected the way that I am, the methods in which I used to correct my students, and I would have been in a better place. Yeah, so that was my observation. Through teaching, I kind of developed the ability to teach myself better.
That's a really wonderful way of putting it. Like teaching ourselves to teach ourselves better. Wow. That just blew my mind. Because yeah, that's all it is. Right? I think from the time we are born, we are teaching ourselves so many things. And I mean, have you ever seen little babies? They try to turn on their on their belly, or they try to get up and walk, right? They do that, but I highly doubt they like call themselves stupid and idiotic in their mind if they don't get it. They just get up and they just keep trying like nothing happened before. They fall. Yeah, sure, they'll cry a little bit because yeah, sure, disappointment is not a wrong thing. That's a very natural feeling, but they don't have this self-deprecating, this very self-insulting kind of a vibe. They just get up and do it like, all right, that sucked, let me get up and do it again. But for some reason, from then we completely change. Like you said, we see other people doing that to themselves. First of all, we saw adults doing that to themselves. There is so much blame consciousness all the time. Like if something falls or something happens, we saw adults blaming each other all the time instead of them taking responsibility for what they did in a non-self-deprecating, non-self-hating way, or non-hating anyone else way, and just taking stock of what happened, solving it and moving forward. I don't think I've seen that a lot at all growing up. The only thing I've seen is if something bad happened, immediately find first who was at fault, blame them, make them feel like shit. All right. And then also blame yourself. Maybe you might not do it out loud, but you do blame yourself. And if you're doing something to someone else, you will do that to yourself also. Most of the times. If you are blaming someone for everything, if something goes wrong and you did something wrong, what do you think you will do to yourself? Obviously, you will blame yourself. Right? So that's just your way. That's just our way. That's what we knew. So I just feel that that's all of these techniques, like you said, that's how we taught ourselves to teach us. I'm a bit lost here. What was that? We taught ourselves to teach ourselves. Makes sense, right? Yeah, teach ourselves how to not do the wrong thing again, basically. So I had a very big past of being a very clumsy person. As you know, many of my friends know, I was literally called Vamsi the Clumsy. That was my title. All right. And it was a difficult thing, to be honest. It used to be like a joke amongst friends and everything, that oh, she has to drop something, she has to lose something, she always finds creative ways of losing phones, always finds ways to break things. So that was funny, but it was not funny to me in my head. It was not, because there was a point when it really started becoming a problem for me. And I used to hate myself for that. I used to be like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I like this? And it used to literally make me feel separate from other people. I thought there is inherently something wrong with me that I'm doing this. But then I realized that it is the negative self-talk that I absorbed from everyone, because probably some things happened and then I got blamed for them, and then maybe that stayed in my subconscious mind, and I kept doing those things again and again because I thought that that's who I am, and that became my personality. It became so much that it became my personality. And now, just I think 2-3 years back is when I completely deconstructed that personality and completely changed. And I mean, I don't even recognize that person anymore. This is a topic for another podcast, by the way, how to deconstruct and completely change your personality, so that's going to be an interesting topic. But yeah, I did a little detour to say that all of those things that people said about me did affect me in my subconscious mind, and it made me create this negative self-talk. So there was negative self-talk about clumsiness. There was negative self-talk about not wanting to do the same things as other people that's expected out of me, like doing a bank job or doing anything else, right? So I thought there's something wrong with me again, that I wanted to do something different, or like become a musician or whatever. Yeah, so there was negative self-talk about that. There was negative self-talk about being overweight. And this has been since years and years. Even when I was in school, I was really honestly not overweight. I was just a little bit, maybe like a little plump looking, not even like overweight. But still, there used to be people like calling me overweight, or comparing myself to their skinny body or something like that. So since then, there has been negative self-talk going on and on and on, which I didn't even realize, right? I thought that's how it is. That's how I'm supposed to think. But now that it has been repeated for so many years, that even till today, even after deconstructing my personality so much, and even after stopping negative self-talk so much, I still find myself sometimes looking in the mirror, and it's just a habit pattern. I'm not even thinking about being overweight or anything. In fact, I have been feeling really amazing in my body from the past few years. But still, this habit shows itself. And I catch myself looking at my slightly protruding belly and it's like, oh, nah, that is ugly. That is so ugly, and you're such a loser for getting to this point. So it is a constant thing. This is I'm telling you all of this to make a point that negative self-talk is like a daily moment to moment thing. Moment to moment to moment. You have to be super aware of your negative self-talk and take it thought by thought by thought, and not get overwhelmed by it and think that, oh, I need to change the narrative immediately. What do you think?
Well, it's not. Well, I even think, sometimes maybe I got the result talking to myself so badly. But, when I've even got the results after using negative methods, I've not even been happy. It's like I really had to do all that to get this. It's not worth it. Even I could not even celebrate getting those results. Even the results that I wanted. Because the way to get there was not satisfying at all. So that was the main reason why, I feel I needed to change the voice inside my head. So that's when the affirmations that you had introduced me to really, I really connected with them. And I just felt like, okay, this is what I want. Again, I had to go on and off, on and off. And since I had so many years of conditioning, saying that negative self talk is a way to get things done, it was really hard to believe that affirmations and positive affirmations could be also helpful. And it was really hard to believe, but it eventually worked, I would say. And it's something I'm still working on. While I would say when I started off, I was like 95% negative self talk and 5% of my own confidence and inspiration in myself. After affirmations came in, I was say 80-20, 80 being the negative. And right now, after these 5-6 years of being introduced to it, I would say I'm 60-40, 60 still being the negative part. So that's how strongly ingrained it is in me. Well, I can just tell you that through my own experience that affirmations, positive affirmations do work. But it is also necessary to clear out a lot of stuff from within. Yeah, not trying to just bypass something. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, no spiritual bypassing. Affirmations, I feel, really help on a mental level. All right. So, it's like flipping the script, to say. And especially in the beginning, it felt very, very hard for me to even believe what was being said in affirmations. It's not easy, especially when you are caught in such a negative loop in your mind. It becomes very hard to listen to something that is saying the opposite about you. You'll be like, Bish, where? Where is all this that they're talking about in the affirmations? It becomes very hard to actually believe what they're saying. So I would suggest, if someone is getting started, with that, don't go with your initial reactions and don't give up because of that. You have to stick through it. Remember, it's like years of conditioning. Like Brennan said, years of conditioning of what we have taught ourselves, right? And what we have heard. So it's basically like brainwashing, basically. We have brainwashed ourselves, and people have brainwashed us in some way or the other about what we are supposed to believe about ourselves and what we are. Yeah, so it's just like changing the brainwashing, basically. So you're doing a different kind of brainwashing, and that will not happen overnight. It will definitely not happen even in a week. It needs a lot of repetition, and do it in your sleep. Maybe when you're sleeping, put it next to you. That's one of the best ways to do it, because it's really directly reaching your subconscious mind. So do that early in the morning when you wake up. You're doing stuff, not thinking about it too much. When you're doing stuff on autopilot, that's a great time to put affirmations, because again, you're not thinking about this stuff too much. So it's really reaching you in your subconscious mind again. So I would highly recommend that. And really listen to affirmations from people who you feel some sort of positive energy coming from, who you feel is really saying stuff that they would believe in. And you can tell that by energy, by someone's voice, by how they've put that in the affirmations. So that is a little bit of advice or suggestions about positive affirmations. About the percentage of changes that was happening, that was very interesting to hear. I actually did not know that. But like I was saying before, even after doing this for years, it's not going to happen that you'll never have negative thoughts in your mind. Let me make that clear. That's never going to happen. It's a part of us. It's basically a protective mechanism of our brain. And for a lot of years, let's just take a quick trip back to our history and let's remember that our ancestors did not have the easiest lives. They did not. Especially us Indians. Just till our grandparents' generations. Your dad was born in the freedom time, right? For 1947. So even your dad or even our grandparents' generation, they had extremely difficult lives. They were in survival mode, right? So their brain literally had to watch out for a lot of things, had to, correct themselves in a way that, okay, let's, be on high alert, be on fight or flight. So a lot of negativity was there. And we are a lot more comfortable compared to that right now. And our brain doesn't know how to deal with that, to be honest. Because our brain is still in ancient times. It's not used to comfort. I'm not talking about everyone. Of course, there are a lot of people who are in survival mode even today. I'm talking about the few of us who, by grace of God, are in a comfortable position where we have food to eat, clothes to wear, roof over our head, right? So our brain actually doesn't know how to relax and just enjoy things and teach ourselves in a positive way, just look at optimistic things. It's very difficult. So there will be a negative chatter happening from time to time. It's very, very key to not hate it. Not hate it. Don't hate it. Don't put yourself down for having the negative chatter also. There's nothing wrong in us that we have negative chatter. There's nothing wrong. The thing that we can do is don't hate it, observe it. And again, this is where Vipassana comes in picture again, because it really helps you observe on a very, very keen level, or any sort of meditation, that helps you with observation. So you become a third person and you observe your thoughts, observe your emotions. How are you reacting when something's going wrong in your life? If you did a mistake, maybe in office you made a mistake, how are you correcting yourself? How are you reacting? Would you really speak like this if very close to you had made the same mistake? If your loved one made the same mistake that you made, would you be correcting them like that? Would you be speaking to them so harshly? I don't think so. Most of us wouldn't. In fact, when I ask people this question, what would you tell your best friend or your loved one if they did the same thing that you did? They'd be like, oh, maybe I'd just console them, cheer them on, encourage them. Then what is so bad in you that you can't do that yourself? They are outside of you. You are you. You are living your life. You know yourself the best. In fact, you have your best interest. Nobody else has your best interest like you do, right? Nobody can physically have that. So then you have to be your own cheerleader. You have to speak to yourself like you would to your most loved person, because you should be your most loved person.
True, I absolutely agree with that. It's been quite recent, I would say, that I've been giving my self-love. Is that the right way to say it? Giving myself self-love. Okay. Good, okay. And yeah, it's been very challenging and hard to do that for myself. I mean, I find it so easy to love you, but when it comes to me, I'm so critical and so judgmental, and I'm quite a I would say, harsh soldier with myself, or like the worst principal ever. Yeah. So yeah, I've started to develop that self-love and seeing that I can still achieve results, and in fact better results, and even enjoy those results when the method of getting them was so much more loving and peaceful. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I'm even sharing this. So hopefully it could resonate with others who've been going through a lot of self-hatred and lack of self-respect and self-belief. Yeah.
Apart from affirmations, the one thought that has really helped me in not chastising myself so much over things is not holding my self-worth on to things that I do or don't do. Not pegging my self-worth onto that. Or my love for myself based on what I did or didn't do. It's been a huge thing for me to change that, because things are always going to change around you. You're going to do good things, you're going to do bad things. Same like how, we were playing a game today, and there were some really difficult puzzles in that game, and we cracked it and we felt amazing about it, and we were like, hell yeah, we're like geniuses, but a couple of them we didn't. We had to look up tutorials and do those puzzles, and we kind of felt a little bad about that. And then we remembered that, look, it doesn't matter. We still are worthy, and we still are intelligent, and we still get to feel amazing about ourselves, whether we accomplish something or we don't. Because if we really peg that onto these ever-changing things, then it's gonna be a hell of a roller coaster ride. So we get to feel self-worth and self-love just because we exist. Just because we are. And for no other reason. No other reason. We are existing, we are here, we are alive, we are us. And that's all that matters. And that's all that we need to have to love. Don't need to have anything or do anything else. Everything else just comes out of the love. Everything else just flows out of the love. So we need to just let our floodgates open and just let the love flow in every cell of our body. Feel it in our heart, feel it in our soul. Give love to all those billions of little gut bacteria who are like doing so much work inside your gut to keep us alive. Give love to the wonderful heart that's beating, beating, beating. Give love to the wonderful breath, the air that just passes in and out, keeping us alive. Give love to every cell of the body that's working in unison to make this wonderful, magical moment happen. We just get to be love. We just get to love ourselves just because we are. We're already freaking magical, just the way we are. Our ever-evolving self, ever-expanding self. And once the love starts flowing, everything else just flows easily from the love. That's all. No self-hatred. None of that needs to even be there because it's all just love. It's all just given. Yeah. So that's it. And I hope you catch yourself with love and compassion next time you find yourself talking negatively to yourself or putting yourself down. And maybe question a little bit, where has this belief and pattern actually come from? Maybe just question that a little bit and find out where did it come from, and why do you talk to yourself like that, and why do you blame yourself, or why do you react to your own mistakes like that. That's all, and I would love to hear what you have to say about this.
Well, I love you, and most importantly, I love myself.
That was so nice to hear. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, you can reach out to us on Instagram. We've put our handles down in the description, and we would love to hear from you in the comments as well. Do let us know your experiences with affirmations, with negative self-talk, with any thing that comes up for you when you're hearing this. Any other advice that you have for people who are going through that. So would love to hear from you guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode
Of Living and Loving with Vamsi.
See you guys. Bye. Lots of love.